Okay, now we have discussed different types of repetition structures, the do while, do until, the for next. Um, Now the cool thing about these things, these structures, that these can be nested within each other, meaning that you can have a for loop inside a for loop, or a do while, do until loop inside another do until loop. So, and it's like you can technically go on forever. Like you can have three nested loops, one within one, like that. A practical example of that is a clock having minutes and second hands. So I guess the logic behind the clock is that once you start with the second hand, you move it 60 times, basically do a loop of 60 times. Every time, every second, the minute second hand moves by one position, and after that's done, then once the second hand moves 60 positions, then the minute hand moves one position, and this goes on for 60 times, and then the hour hand moves for one position, like that. So I mean, you have a for loop or a do while whatever loop for the second hand. Once it gets done, then another loop for the minute hand, then it gets done by one, and it makes the nested second hand loop do it all over again. So you have a loop within a loop. Here are some examples what I was trying to say in three different versions. The first one is using a for loop, second one using a do while, and third one is using a do until. And these are all pseudo codes for that. So I mean, uh, you see in each of these there's repeat for, or repeat while, or repeat until in each case, but it's done twice. So in version 1, the first statement says repeat for minutes from 0 through 559, the number of minutes in an hour. And again, there's repeat for seconds from 0 through 59, meaning that the repeat for seconds is nested inside repeat for minutes. So basically what the computer does, it goes and goes into deeper and deeper into your code in a nested loop, and it starts from the innermost loop. So it looks at the innermost loop, which is the seconds loop. So it repeats for seconds from 0 through 59, moves the second hand one position clockwise each time, does it for 60 times, then the inner loop's done, and then the outer loops, once the inner loop's done once, like completes its whole cycle, then the outer loops, which is the moving of the minute hand position, it moves by one, and then again the inner loop's done. So I mean, once the whole thing completes, the minute and the second, and the minute hand has moved, or the second hand has moved for 60 times, times 60 times, so 3600 times, meaning that an hour has been completed while this whole nested loop structure has been done. And version 2 and version 3 are basically doing the same thing with different kinds of loops. So we are looking at an application where which is similar to the application we did before using the financial payment method, just that we are using nested loops here. Um, Sorry, not the financial payment. We had used an application where the user inputs his initial salary, and based on a 2% interest rate, uh, he got an output of what his salary is going to look like over the next 5 years. Well, this is just an extension of that, meaning that this program will also show his salary increments for 3% and 4%, besides the 2% which is already there. So it's going to look something like this right at the end. At the bottom, you see the user has entered a number, and for that he has gotten all his salaries for different increment rates. So how do we do that? So using nested loops, of course. So you'll see here there are two for loops. Inside is the previous for loop where for year 1 to 5 we get all the salary increments, and then the outer for loop is just doing the same thing but with the rate changing from 0.02 to 0.04, meaning it's changing from 2% to 4% with a step of 0.01 or 1%. And I mean the other lines of code are similar. So you start with the beginning salary, keep on adding items which are just the rates of the structures. So I mean this structure of code basically gives you an application such as that. So that's about nested repetition structure. These can be very useful a lot of times, as we have seen already.